wanted for forging former President Buhari's signature in $6.2 million theft. And later on the show, concern grows as Osun State judiciary remains shut for more than 2 months as Governor Ademola Adeleke sets up committee to resolve issues that led to the strike. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Paul Dada. Journalist Hangout starts now. Well, it appears the atrocities committed during the tenure of a former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, are unending. Another fraud has been uncovered by a team of special investigators who have written to the Inspector General of Police to place 3 Nigerians on Interpol Red Notice. This was after the federal government declared the 3 CBN staff and others wanted, and they are suspected to have forged documents bearing the name of former President Muhammadu Buhari to steal about $6.2 million from the CBN coffers. The forgery was in the guise of sourcing funds from the CBN to pay foreign election observers. BQ, let's understand this conversation, because when we see stories like this, people who are meant to take up the role of, let's say, ensuring that these monies are given out, and they are the ones being caught in the process of forging the president's signature. What does it say about the level of individuals manning our public institutions that are meant to, be working in the interest of the general people, of the public generally? Let's start with that.
Well, so many people in government are not interested in you and I. They have no interest in our welfare. They're only interested in lining their pockets. So many criminally minded people are in Abuja, are in Lagos, manning federal institutions. People simply want to steal from the system, and they will do whatever they need to do to steal from the system. We look like a besieged nation. Everyone dragging the nation by its coattails, looking at what it can steal from our country. I've said before that Nigeria, many people see Nigeria as a buffet. And when you want to see greedy people, attend the buffet and look at their plates. People will pick portions that they know they can't finish. I've been at a buffet before where somebody first got some salad, some fruits, and then proceeded right there to pick a big wrap of pounded yam and put it right in the same plate where I had salad. And I'm like, it happened at Akodo Beach. There are some of my friends who are there, they will remember that day. He put the big wrap of pounded yam right in the same plate where I had salad and is it coleslaw?
Maybe he wants to have a combination of the both to see how it is.
It's just greed. Ideally, if you take maybe fruits, you then proceed to eat your normal meal. It's supposed to be the first thing that you eat, although most Nigerians will go and take the fruits. Ignorant people, they go and eat fruits. They go and eat fruits after the meal. Well, you cannot.
Each to his own choice.
People do what they think is right. It's like people spraying perfume straight on their
dresses.
Let's leave that one for now. A lot of those guys do not think about you and I. They are only interested in stealing and being able to send their children to the best schools. You see people on grade level 9 in Abuja level 9 officers, they own estates. There was a story that I investigated when I was in the news. A level 9 officer had not one estate, 3 estates. That's the level of stealing going on in our country. The system permits so much stealing.
So what can be done to plug these loopholes?
If we cannot do, look, I believe that the KPMGs of this world, they need to even help us straighten up our processes in our federal and state bureaucracies, because the governance system is just terrible. It permits so much stealing. And whenever you come up with some method to even stop the stealing, they find another way. Because people will work together once it is certain that both of them can benefit from stealing from the national coffers. They will work together. You see people, there's no ethnicity in this. They will all agree that, yes, let's do it together. Everybody, you carry them along in the stealing process. There's no problem. This one, I'm not surprised. I know that they will still uncover more. Because the Emefiele years were horrible years. He's the worst CBN governor in Nigerian history. When I talk like this, I have my fact. I challenge anybody to a debate. Whoever says no, he's not the worst. Okay, let us talk. And let's talk about what went down during his time. Was the account of the CBN ever audited throughout the time that Emefiele was there? No. The answer is no. Nobody audited the account of the CBN. And the CBN became an all-comers affair. They were involved in agric. They were involved in everything. They became like some of these foreign agencies that provide money for people when they have some projects to do. And they are looking for funding, you know? Like a foreign donor agency.
Donor agencies, yeah.
They will give people, they will go and donate money here. CBN, no. That was the kind of CBN. Are you surprised that people will go and forge the president's signature? Do you know how many times they forged President Buhari's signature? Because we are seeing now some of the clear instances of corruption under that regime. And that's what put us where we are. Whether people admit it or not is the truth. And this truth will haunt us for so long. People, a government printing naira notes way in excess of what the law permits. You are printing naira notes, it's not backed by any, just printing. And you printed 23 trillion. And part of the 23 trillion, people packed part of the 23 trillion and converted to dollars. And you expect that. Look, people are suggesting that they should take a loan from the IMF to rein in this slide of the naira. If they try it, whatever they bring in within a short time, the gluttons who had looted our country dry in the last 8 years, they will go and mop up the dollars that you have received by way of an IMF loan. They will still mop it up. Is the CBN governor, they did not announce to us that the market, they traded in excess of 1 billion. How come it didn't affect the rate? In fact, the rate is still going up. That means there are individuals. It's either those banks are selling to themselves or they are selling to their patrons, their friends.
Let's take this issue a little bit closer or a little bit higher than this conversation, Paul. How do you think financial institutions now can improve their internal controls to detect and prevent fraud schemes like we're already seeing right now?
The first thing is there must be a will to actually do it. We must not be paying lip service to anti-corruption fights. You know that even those who are supposed to fight corruption are also enmeshed in it. You remember that the EFCC chairman admitted by himself that even his officials who are collecting what? Were corrupt. And those people are supposed to fight crime. So first of all, there has to be a will. I think there is no sincere intention on the part of so many actors within our institutions, to really fight it. Because when there's a will, there's a way. So when there's no intention, all you hear are, we are fighting, we'll do this, we'll do that. People pay lip service to anti-corruption fight. So there has to be a will. Because once there's a will, you cannot devise methods. See, our institutions are full of very cruel, wicked agents of darkness who just feel that being in the public service is for them to do what? To make money for them. I wonder what they are using all this money for. I believe that even like BKO said, it's even public servants that are corrupting political office holders, because those ones are, many of them are newcomers to the system. I mean, none of them come from outside the system. So when they see that those other people who have been there like forever, they corrupt them. So the thing is, there must be a will. There must be a will. That is what I believe is missing.
Will on the part of the government or the part of the
will on the part of the government. For example, he suggested having an audit firm. There's a serious audit firm. But I tell you today that even when the auditors even try to move in, there are people there that are also ready to say, oh yeah, overlook this and overlook that. So there must be, we must all remember that we have a country. We should not just run this country aground. Everybody who goes into public service, most people who go into public service, they think that it is a place to just get free money. Today, I can tell you that, Esther, if you get, if you get a political appointment, there will be people in your area who will think that you're already making money. They will come with you with all sorts of problems that you can't solve. And that can even put pressure on you, to start, pleasing people. You understand what I'm trying to say? So we must have that will. We must have a government that has a will to sanitize the system. Thank God we are hearing that, ministers are being probed and all of that. So it's very important. Two, we need a very serious sanity system. What do I mean by that? You see, when we want to prosecute, let us really prosecute. Let us really prosecute. Let's bring hard evidence, and let us punish people. Let us avoid this. In fact, some of this we should not even go to plea bargain. Let us pursue it to the end. To the end. And that's it.
But aside from this, what other ways can be explored or options can be explored? Because if this doesn't fall through, this might seem like a laudable initiative or laudable way to go about this. But what other options can be explored if all these options you've raised doesn't fall through?
Esther, there are ways to plug your holes in the system. One of the, this guy that approved that released what's his name? The deputy director that released the fund. He said something. He said, well, I got the memo to release the fund. I don't approve. I just release. People should begin to question, everybody should begin to question.
Right.
So you are asked to release $6.2 million to foreign election observers. Pay them for what?
They pay observers.
That's the question I asked. Pay them for. You want to pay EU observers. Right. For example, EU election observers. What do they need your money for? That should have rung a bell.
Right.
Look, everybody needs to sit up and say, look, this is our country. We must not let it implode. It is not just a thing for only. President is just one man. President is just one man.
Paying observers.
Pay observer, foreign election observer. What are they looking for? Is it brown envelope or what are they looking for? I don't understand.
So the thing, where did the money go? We must first find out. You see, so many things have happened. The Auditor General of the Federation just issued a report in which he said between 2016 and 2019, there was no record of monies recovered by the EFCC at the CBN. He couldn't find a single document showing that, okay, the monies recovered by the EFCC and kept with the CBN. This was the amount. These are the documents to show that these monies came in. It also said, the Auditor General's report also said that the last time the Federation, the Federation account received inflows from the CBN by way of this kind of money was December 2015. So that means the way the Yoruba say, Olegba, Olegbe, Olegba, that's what we are saying. That is the same way that the Abacha loot was looted, relooted. So all of the money that they collect, they put people on trial. I mean, they harass them. Look, we have evidence that you stole this money. Where is the money? So they collected the money.
We don't know
it's
when.
not accounted for.
You know my
okay, let's leave this conversation. Let's quickly move on to our next issue. I understand you have.
No, I just want to add
but
something.
if you want to say just 10 seconds.
Yes, 10 seconds. I think we need more heads to roll because people know the problem.
Right.
You just said something now that there was a complaint that CBN is not. They know these things. Why are heads not rolling?
Right.
So more heads have to roll.
That's where we leave it. That's where we anchor on that. So that transparency.
I'm yet to see any head roll.
Transparency, they say, builds trust, and there is no better time to stress this than now, when more revenue for states hasn't translated to economic prosperity for citizens. Human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has urged the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation to publish monthly allocation to the federal, state, and local governments. Well, Falana argues that citizens have a right to know what is happening to the proceeds of the removal of subsidy on petrol. And he cited Section 22 of the Constitution to back his claim. But who will bail the cat? BKO, let's start with you.
You know, we were here yesterday and I made this point before Femi Falana amplified it about an hour later. So we can't leave governors to be doing just what they like.
Right.
I mean, they don't own us. They don't own us. The tragedy of our situation is that Nigerians are not asking pertinent questions. You have governors who are not accountable to you because many of them rigged the election. They feel that they are not responsible to you. And the NGOs, a lot of them have become so political. We live in an age when somebody will just shell out some money to some NGOs. They go and make some funny protests, and we are carrying some silly placards on behalf of somebody who is under scrutiny, somebody who is corrupt. Those are not the kind of NGOs that we want. We want NGOs that will ask the right questions.
Right.
We want NGOs that will demand accountability and transparency from the people who rule us, from the president to the lowest at the lower rung of the ladder. We need civil society standing up for our people, because the ordinary Nigerians cannot come out and be demanding for this, demanding for that. They need to be represented, and that's the job of civil society. That's the way it's done everywhere else. So why should governors, we know now, as we speak, some governors are receiving 3 times what they used to get. And I'm not exaggerating. They are receiving 3 times what they used to get. Still, some of those governors can't pay minimum wage. They can't pay minimum wage. We know. They can't pay minimum wage. They can't pay pension. The streets of their states still remain littered with human and industrial waste. They can't even evacuate waste. So what are you doing? Beyond simply going to Abuja to throw your weight around, what are you doing? Let the people feel
The impact of your governance.
Let the people and you know, Nigerians are perplexed. They are just nonplussed about the fact that they are making big sacrifices upon the removal of subsidy. But let the sacrifice even show. Let's see an uptick in the number of meaningful projects.
Right.
But it's still
Same of the same.
the same way they were behaving when they were not collecting enough and they used to swear at NNPC. It's the same thing that we are seeing. And you are taking 3 times more than what you used to get. Come on, something is wrong. And why should it even take myself or Falana to say that this thing, that what governors are taken every month, and local government should be publicized. Why should, if we are a nation where we place so much accent on accountability, you don't even need anybody to tell you. The office of the Accountant General or even the Minister of Finance should release it. After Okonjo-Iweala was releasing it. What will happen if they release it? Will heavens fall? That will just let us know that, okay, these people are our governors. They always complain that there's no money. But you can't say there's no money when you are getting this, you are getting that. We can now challenge them that, okay, you are giving the university, Lagos State University, I'm just using Lagos as an example now, just as an example. Lagos State University, their subvention should go up because you are earning more money. What you are spending on security, not just because security has worsened, insecurity has worsened, you spend more money because you have the funds to increase what you allocate to those sectors. What you allocate to roads will go up. You know that Nigeria needs infrastructure. We need to freshen up critical infrastructure. But you are behaving like nothing has changed. I mean, you can't be behaving like this, you governors. I'm behaving like nothing has changed. But they must publish this thing. We will continue to ask for it.
Yes,
and if we find a way to get it on our own, you just see me, I will bring it. I will work towards getting it on my own.
I'm talking about
let the whole Nigerians know that this is what they are getting.
I'm talking about getting this thing out. What would it take for the media now to perhaps pursue this so that we can see this, reports publicly published for everyone to see?
There is an FOI hack.
Right.
You understand? There's an FOI hack. The media can make use of it. But the thing is that that's where I'm going.
You're right to say you want it. How many times
that is where I'm going. That is you took the word out of my mouth. We can pursue that.
We use subterranean moves to get
exactly.
Get it.
We can pursue that. But like you said, those who can use the subterranean moves should do it. But really, honestly, I'm beginning to ask. When he was talking, I was just saying, where are the Gadefawa Yemis? Where are the Beckers? The Dr. Beckers?
Right.
You understand? Where are the Franco Coris that if they sneeze, the whole nation will catch cold? You understand? Not all these jellyfish NGOs. You understand what I'm trying to say? No, this thing is so serious. Now, you removed fuel subsidy. Okay? Said we're spending a lot of money on fuel subsidy. Okay, we heard you. The president declared, subsidy is gone. People complain, some people lauded it. Fine. The money you have saved from the subsidy, the money you said you have given to the people, to the states, no justification for the collection. How many states have been able to bring CNG buses? How many states have been able to subsidize transportation heavily? People are crying.
They have the funds.
People are crying. For example, if you cannot no longer subsidize for, shouldn't you subsidize transport, public transport? How many people have been able to do that? We have food crisis now. What are they doing about food? Making food available? Nothing. They're just there. You talk about the roads, no infrastructure, nothing. Everything has collapsed. Everything is even worse. Things have even become worse than they used to be when there was subsidy. So what is the problem? So
what are they doing about agriculture? Lands belong to the states now.
So, but we need a solution in sight, because if Falana is asking the AGF to publish this allocation for everyone, for us to see, so what do we do to ensure that we have this in front of us and we're not allowed to re-input, there isn't an opaqueness, so to speak, where the government gets to act or do things without the people knowing what is being done for the sake of the masses?
Some people should go to court.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the job of those NGOs. It's not me here now who will go to court. My own job is different. They can go to court to compel the Accountant General to publish this, or the chairman of this thing, the Federation, what is it called, FAC. They meet, those finance commissioners, they meet every month to share the money. So people need to go to court to compel the release of these allocations, not once, but on a consistent basis.
Right.
Every month, the people deserve to know. If the court compels them to release the allocations, they will have no choice. because I don't see the danger in it. We will only know what we didn't know before. If you are my governor and you are pretending that, all is not well, or you're always saying there's no money, and I can see that you are getting a lot more, it's from the sacrifices that all of us are making.
Right.
You know? Then people will be able to ask questions and challenge their governors, because right now people are not even challenging the governors. Right. Everything is on the president, as if one person can singularly run a country of 200 million people.
Right, let me hold your thoughts. We have a call from Abuja. Benga, please go ahead with your contribution. Hello, Benga, can you hear me? Okay, it seems we're having a bit of issue connecting with him there. Well, let's quickly, okay, you're about to land your thoughts on this before we quickly go on break, PQ.
No, I think my point has been made that if we have that information, we can challenge our governors by saying, come on, you need to spend more in health, you need to spend more here and there, because there's no justification. You can't pay minimum wage. We can look at how much you need to pay minimum wage and ask ourselves whether you don't have much more than that from the allocation that you get. If any governor does not perform with this excess money they are getting, that one can never perform again. That's the way I see it.
Paul, final thoughts.
Yeah, I think that we should put more pressure on government, even after they've gone to court. And everybody, Nigerians, media, should put more pressure on government. And again, our people should learn a lesson. Our people should learn. Now they know, especially those boys that are being used to rig election, now they know that these governors don't have, they don't have their welfare in their mind. We should not be rewarding non-performing governors with second term. We should not. Things must change for once in this country. And that's it. It does not matter what party the person belongs. It's not about party issue. It's about who we deliver. It's about who is going to improve on the welfare of the people. That's why they are there. We don't want functionally useless governors anymore.
Well, that's where we leave this discussion. Let's quickly go on a very quick break. You're still on to... All right, I like to warn you that language you used, useless, should not be...
It's functionally useless.
It's not an insult.
All right. So that's where we have to leave this discussion. Let's quickly go on a very quick break. You're still on to Journalist Hangout. We'll have more coming up in just a moment. Just with us.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known, for when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Now, the season of anime in Osun State continues as judicial activities in the southwest state have been halted for more than 2 months. In the move to salvage the situation, Governor Ademola Adeleke has set up a committee headed by the Secretary to the State Government, Teslim Igbalaye, to resolve the issues that led to the ongoing strike by the state chapter of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria. Let's share the story of the strike by TVC News' Rafiu Hamid with you.
Since the 22nd of November last year, the state high courts in Osun State have been shut. It began with the purported suspension of the state chief judge, Adepeluju, by the state government, followed by the industrial action embarked upon by the Judiciary Staff Union over their welfare. The implication is that all cases being heard by judges and magistrates in the courts had since been put on hold, while suspects kept in correctional facilities who would have been released will now stay longer than expected. Revenues that will have accrued to the state through application for affidavits, process filing fee, and others have also stopped. Our visit to the State High Court in Osogbo shows that all the courtrooms are shut while the environment looks unkept. The All Progressives Congress recently addressed a press conference where it alleged the state government of deliberately keeping the courts perpetually shut.
I put it to everybody in this state today that the governor, Ademola Adeleke, and his government is behind the Osun strike. Quote me anywhere. What efforts has the governor made? Is it not because they want to keep everybody silent? The police stations, the cell are jam-packed. Within this week, you guys not taking, the police will not arrest any criminal again. And that is what the government wants.
The shutting down of the court is a serious security threat, as the police with time would not have any option than to set criminals free in order to manage the population of the inmates in their detention facilities.
At the January State of the State address by the Osun masterminds, the group also alleged the state government of being behind the closure of the courts.
The judiciary, whatever, are on strike. And the strike is dragged on. What we are saying is that any responsible and responsive government ought to have taken action to ensure that it is not just going to work. You know those who will be in prison now because they don't have access to, their bail cannot be argued in court. By logic and reason of science, that the government of Osun State, or should the executive of government, is interested in the continued closure of the court. And if they want to prove us otherwise, they should take steps between now and the end of this week to make sure that the courts are reopened. They are in bed with Osun State on this illegal closure of the court. And they should wake up from that bed and make sure that the people of Osun State get justice.
But the State Commissioner for Information immediately denied the allegation.
It's an internal affairs of the judiciary. All the grievances and allegations of the Juson, they are not against the state governor, and the state governor has no hand in it. Or if you can interview them and you check all the allegations, you will know that it has something to do with state government.
A number of suspects have been arrested and paraded by the police since the commencement of the strike. Some of them have either been released or in detention. However, the State Police Public Relations Officer, Yemisi Opalola, says the peaceful nature of Osun has helped the police in coping with the situation.
That Osun has been a peaceful state. There is not much crime, these heinous crimes and criminals like that. So we have been able to cope with them. The ones that are being arrested, we have enough facilities to keep them until the court is sitting.
Rising from its Congress in Osogbo, the Nigerian Bar Association told journalists on its resolution as it affects members. The association is concerned about those in detention without trial.
So the CJ should empower our magistrate to be sitting at these industrial detention facilities. So cases of people who are not deserved to be detained at the detention facility can be looked into at the facilities. They can also be defended at the facilities and all be granted bail pending when the court will start working fully.
Rivers State under Governor Rotimi Amici had similar experience of court closure when he was alleged of bypassing seniority in appointing the state chief judge. Residents of Osun believe the negative implication of shutting down such an important arm of government for months is not only affecting the economy of the state, but the lives of citizens. Sections 251 and 272 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, specify the jurisdiction of both the federal and the state high courts. This implies that there are cases that can be entertained only at the state high court, hence the need for government to wade into the matter of strike so that Osun staff can resume work. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Osogbo.
Right, Biko, this can be a worrisome situation in Osun State where the regular dispensation of justice has been altered by this development, where for 2 months now, judicial workers have refused to resume work. But first off, what do you make of this development, and how do you see this affecting the dispensation of justice? Already we have the NBA being worried that some suspects are being detained without trial. Where do you see this leading to?
Well, let me start by talking about why they decided to go on strike. Their demands. They are demanding for proper maintenance of courts and other judiciary properties across the state. They are demanding for payment of wardrobe allowances for all judiciary workers. They are demanding for adequate attention to be given all qualified staff due for regularization and promotions. They are demanding for restoration of the long-suspended training of staff at the National Judicial Institute, NJI. They are demanding for the reinstatement of unlawfully suspended staff by Honorable Chief Judge of the state. Now you look at these demands. These demands are not difficult, in my view, to meet. If workers need to be trained, you know how to suspend training of workers. Part of ensuring that you have people who have capacity is to constantly train and retrain them. So a responsible government should take the training of its workers seriously. So I believe that these are legitimate demands. But there is there's every reason to believe that this strike was political, because until the state government took the decision to illegally suspend the chief judge of the state, because the state governor should have known that he has not got the power to suspend the CJ of his state. Those who did it in the past, we know where it ended. He suspended the woman, and it was the day after that suspension that these guys too went on strike. Why didn't they go on strike before now? No one is saying that the woman is a saint. There are many people who believe that the woman is not a saint. But you have to follow procedure. You have not got the power. If we are to use the content of our laws, you have not got the power to suspend the CJ. Now, they did that and wanted somebody in her place. That person ran away from the inauguration because he knew what was coming. The person who did it in Ekiti, who was used by another arm of government to replace a CJ, he was on suspension for more than 10 years. It was just last year that they allowed him to come back. So that one, on the day of the inauguration, he took to his heels. They didn't see him, so he could not take the woman's place. The woman was lucky because the president has amended the law, allowing judges to stay in office till they are 70. If that law had not been amended, she would have left at 65 and she was due to go. But since the law came in, that means her tenure had been legally extended. Now, JUSUM, the leadership of JUSUM at the national level, extended the tenure of the current leaders, extended their tenure, seeing that they were involved in this industrial action. But later on, the body dissolved. They dissolved that ESCO and directed them to resume work. Since they were directed to resume work, they've refused to resume work. Why I'm perplexed is that Governor Adeleke allowed this to go on for so long. And what he fails to realize is that even his own state, by extension, you may be happy with the strike based on political reasons. Oh, you want to send someone packing because you don't trust that that person will be loyal to you. A chief judge doesn't have to be loyal to a governor. Why should a governor expect a chief judge to be loyal? So now, in the state judiciary, some of the monies that they make, like the money for filing processes, affidavit and all that, they've not been able to make that money since the courts were short, you know? And police stations, police cells are already filled up. The other day, in Elisha, the cultists killed one another. Six cultists died in the process. Some arrests were made. The problem that they've created for the police is that you keep arresting, you can't take people to court. When you take people to court, those who will be granted bail, they go to their homes. They won't return to the police cell. But if the courts do not open, what do? You keep people in detention indefinitely, and the law does not say that for every crime you must keep people in detention indefinitely. And the mobile courts are not working the same way the regular courts are not working. So now this same problem is happening even in the correctional centers. They have prison in Elisha and I think Ilefe also. Those prisons are already jam-packed because they can't take people before the courts for possible bail or whatever. So they are jam-packed, and there is concern that the more you bring people to the correctional centers and the correctional centers are filled up, you could be playing with a jailbreak. Because how will the security people, the warders, for example, how will they be able to manage a crowd that is too large? So the state is playing with fire. They don't understand the implications of the courts not working. You can't. Police now on their own now, they decide when to arrest. Because before you arrest, you must think of where you are going to keep them. Where do you keep them? You can't keep criminals in the open. Right. You have to put them in the cell. The cells are filled up because you are not taking people to court. So in some cases, they will just look. If they think that, well, your case is not, they let you go. You go back to the ward to be tormenting people. So this is something that they need to sit down. The governor needs to sit down with these people and resolve these outstanding issues, because looking at this, there's no big deal in this demand. These demands can be met.
Oh, how do you think this matter can be addressed? Even if the government says it is denying involvement in this protracted 2-month strike in the judicial sector in its state?
Honestly, it's very painful that this is happening, because they've actually crippled an arm of government. The legislature is working, the executive is working, the judiciary that is said to be the last hope of the common man is not open. I think there are some sectors in our nation that must not be allowed to go on strike. Right. Just the way it's very painful for electricity workers to say, they are going on strike, or police to say they are going on strike. Judicial workers should not be going on strike. I also think that this should have been addressed before this time. But thankfully, the state governor has woken up. That they have to find a way of, resolving the matter. We're talking about police stations, not being able to keep the prisoners. So, I was one of the lawyers was saying that maybe some people should be granted administrative bail. But it's not everybody that you can grant administrative bail. You can't grant a murder suspect an administrative bail. Even courts, any offense that is capital in nature, they don't give them administrative bails. Right. Now, there are some people that by now they should have been remanded in the correctional center. Normally that's what they do. After hearing even when you make a bail application, the judge or magistrate will say, okay, remanded in prison until determination of until perfection of the bail. So all of this should be happening. So they should think about all of this and resolve this issue. My only problem, I'm happy that they have set up a committee. The only issue I have is that it's late, but better late than never. And they should approach it with sincerity. They should approach this with sincerity. And of course, there is also nothing wrong in meeting the demands of those of those workers. Wardrobe allowance, courts. See, if we go to some courts, I used to cover, thank God that things have changed in Lagos. When I was a judicial correspondent many years back, I used to pity the judges. I would see, I once saw a judge, everything a witness was saying, I had to record it. I went to the toilet. Hold on, the lawyer will say, please hold on, my lord is recording. So I have to write, I went to the toilet, I did this. That looks like something that a clerk should do. But later, they got them functional recording system and all of that. So if they are asking for that in Osun, they should give them. Let them give them what they want. Those things are not too tough or too difficult for them to meet. So in resolving the issues, they must address the demands of the workers. The ones that can be met immediately, let them meet them. The ones that we met later, let them give a timeline and keep to it. That's it.
BKO, what do you propose as a lasting solution to this crisis?
So this strike must come to an end immediately. Must come to these Jusun guys who have gone on strike. They don't understand the implications to the larger society. Mm-hmm. They are just thinking about themselves, and a good number of them are political in nature. One, you cannot remove the CJ. It is the NJC that can do that. The state government went on a wild goose chase, taking the matter of the CJ before an assembly. I mean, you should have reported to the NJC. The NJC will be the one to try, and if she's found guilty, they will send her packing. Some judges have been punished in that manner, some even demoted. But the executive cannot go and punish the judicial officer. No, it's not within your power. So now that it's clear that the woman has nowhere to go, she go to keep her job, the governor should call the Jusun people and say, look, go back to work. We'll meet your demands. The last time this kind of thing happened was in River State, during Amechi's time. During Amechi's time, Amechi decided to lock up the courts. Wanted to flex muscles at that time. Where did the whole thing end up for him? What he wanted, he did not achieve. The person that I didn't want to see become the CJ of Rivers eventually became CJ of Rivers. The moment Wike became governor, brought that person and made the person became CJ. He didn't achieve his aim. So people must always think of the future. Right. Tomorrow, today they can't take people before the courts and they cannot release. Right. So it's a problem for law enforcement. We abuse our police, but look at what we are making them go through. It's not the fault of the police now, but their cells are jam-packed.
All right, let me hold your thoughts. We need to take this call from Abuja. Benga, please go ahead with your contribution. Hello, Benga, if you're there, please go ahead with your contribution. All right,
hello?
Go ahead, please. You're live. Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. Yes, I was trying to make my comment when you are talking about CBN something. I said the reason why the Anchor Borrower project failed was because they allow politicians, those who don't have anything to do with agriculture or farming or rice farming, to be collecting these loans. Yes. They turned it to their own ATM. And they were collecting these loans, and that's why they could not pay back. And that was a failure of that program. Many of the farmers who generally need that loan could not get it. But the politicians and the cronies of these CBN people were the one collecting it from NISA. Right. Now, NISA MDR now is on trial because billions of naira was taken away through that Anchor Borrower, and they could not account for it. The lot of rot that happened during this tenure on the Anchor Borrower, banks were purchased in Nigeria using our own money to buy banks. Individual, they will borrow money from through CBN through a bank and do to buy bank, and they are not paying back. All these are the ones that cause the genesis of the problem we are having in Nigeria today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Benga, for your contribution. With that being said, BK, he highlighted part of what you raised earlier on the initial discussions we had on the CBN matter. But still, we still focus on what we're discussing. You preferred solutions that should be employed applied by the state government, and looking at what the implications is if this isn't addressed soon enough. But then again, what would you propose as, a permanent solution, if you like? Because when you see the government, the executive in clash with the judiciary, how best do you think this can be managed in line with the law?
Must know, you see, people in government, we want to assume that they are not illiterate. People must know their boundaries. Even within TVC here, I know my boundaries.
Right.
And I know my space. You know that as a governor, you have no power to sack a CJ. The law does not permit it. It's a different arm of government. But governors always get power drunk that they believe that, no, I don't want this person. Governor wants to choose speaker in the state. Governor wants to choose chief judge. Abba.
So how do we prevent that from happening?
No, you will still see people, a governor who wants to demonstrate aberrant behavior. You can't stop them. Occasionally somebody will think that, okay, let me flex my muscle here. But they must realize that at the end of the day, it will amount to a waste of time. If we had time, I can list governors who moved against the chief judges in their states. At the end of the day, they lost the battle.
Yeah.
In fact, I hate to recall what happened in Kwara, for example, where Bukola Saraki sacked this CJ. The woman eventually got justice, but justice was delayed.
Right.
It came just, I think, a few days or so to her leaving office because the case dragged on for years. Thank God for ACGA now. At least cases can move at a much more faster pace. Right. That is what we want to see.
Absolutely.
Because justice delayed is justice denied. So don't move against judges. You have not got the power.
Right. Paul, your final thoughts?
Now, the truth of the matter is that no society can move forward when you cripple institutions. Institutions outlive men. Governors will come and go. A governor will soon become an ex-governor. But a situation where governor wants to control the legislature, wants to control the judiciary, it does not bode well for the society. So people must realize that in the end, everybody becomes a loser, including the governor himself. Ultimately, he's going to be a loser. And history will not be kind to such a governor.
Indeed. Well, that's where we leave it, gentlemen, for this Wednesday's edition of Journalist Hangout. Thank you so much, my guest in the studio, Paul Dada, and as usual, Babajide Kolade Atitoju. It's a pleasure to have your thoughts on the program. Well, that's about it, folks. You can also watch a repeat broadcast of the show tonight at 11. You can also join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Esther Makwariola. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Today, there are many complex, boring, expensive, and useless exercise machines in the market. Or you pay over 400,000 naira a year for gym membership and never go. ShopX TV is proud to introduce Total Crunch Evolution, the compact, versatile fitness solution that is perfect for you. With Total Crunch, you get a complete fitness workout in one machine. Say goodbye to ineffective and complicated exercise machines. Now, you have the power to transform your fitness journey and get the body you have always wanted right in the comfort of your own home. Total Crunch is the efficient and effective way to build muscle, tone and tighten your legs, shape your back and pectorals, while strengthening your core and defining your abs. Now that's totally effective to get the body you want. With Total Crunch, your whole body works out at the same time. Only Total Crunch can put your whole body in motion as you burn calories and lose weight. Just one fitness routine a week will achieve serious results in 4 weeks.
Total Crunch Evolution has enhanced the way I work